As the church gets ready to open at All Saints Memorial Church in Navesink, New Jersey, we are making preparations to receive everybody so that we can be safe. Please know that if you wish to come to a service that will be held indoors, that you will need to call ahead or make a reservation. We will advertise the system for doing that shortly. But please know that unless you do, you are not guaranteed a seat inside, as we will only be able to hold a capacity legally of 35, including clergy and musicians, and ideally with our social distancing and keeping 6 feet apart, 20 to 30 persons, depending on how many people are in a household. So I'm going to pause this now, and we're going to turn to a different view so that I can show you the church and how it is set up and the things that we need to know in order to continue. First up, when you come in outside, you will check in with somebody who will make sure that we have your name and contact information on file in case there is a problem and that we need to contact people to tell them that there has been somebody who has been here with an infection, and we need to tell everybody that they need to get it checked out or get quarantined. If that is the case, the buildings will be closed for a while until we make sure that we have done the necessary deep cleaning before we resume in public worship. If it involves me being exposed as the clergy person here, I may have to quarantine for 2 weeks, which means that we will either have to do service online or something until that happens. So we want to keep everybody safe and careful so that we can all enjoy the space. When you first come in, you will see a sign, and it says, "Welcome to All Saints," and it lists the things that we need to know as we come into worship. And it's a reminder that if you have traveled to one of the high-risk states per state of New Jersey guidelines, you are recommended to quarantine for 14 days upon your return. Also, if you've been exposed to anybody, you are also asked to remain at home. May I add also that if you are immunity compromised, undergoing cancer treatments, or feeling like your immunity system is not, you are not in a place where you want to be exposed, then please stay home and enjoy our live streaming worship, which will continue even as we do live worship. Please note the first thing on the list are face masks and face coverings are needed to enter. This is not negotiable. All right, and if you forgot yours, we have some that we can loan you. We only have them for adults though, but not for children. Of course, children under the age of 2 are exempt. All right. If you have a health condition that prevents you from wearing a face mask, you may want to reconsider coming to live worship for your own safety. All right. Please make sure that you check in with somebody. I will show you the seating that we have marked out. We will have full text bulletins as all the prayer books and hymnals have been removed. But you will not need the hymnals regardless because there will be no congregational singing. Singing expels more air and therefore puts people at greater risk, right? And there are other things. The bathrooms will be open and there are instructions down there as to usage, and people should only use them one person or household if a parent needs to go in with a child at a time. So we will go over all of these as we go forth, all right? So as you come in, you will see a hand sanitizer station, and we will ask you to use the hand sanitizer upon entry. There will also be a place for masks in case you forgot them. And when the time comes, there will be a place for disposable worship bulletins that will be full text and that you will ask to either be take home or to dispose of after you leave. Right? You will also notice that there will be a sign at this aisle and at the top of the aisle asking for only one person or household in the aisle at the same time. This will also go for communion. So we are asking people not to congregate in the aisle, and that if somebody else is in the aisle, because of the narrowness of the aisle, which is less than 6 feet, that we will ask people to only be in the aisle. If you see somebody in the aisle, to please refrain from entering the aisle, and then go to your seat or exit, as whatever the case may be. As we go forth, you will see that there are various pews, right, that are roped off. This is every other pew is roped off, and they are staggered on the sides, so you are not directly across from an open pew. You will notice the signage on these pews that says pew capacity, one person or one household, a household being people from the same home. All right. These, because the pews are just a little over 6 feet, it is very difficult to put anybody, more than one person or one household, in a pew. And as you can see, we have them marked off. So we ask when people come that they honor the seating, and that we honor the marked off pews, and that we don't try to disrupt what we have there. Please note that we have also removed the kneelers by pushing them forward from the pews. We will not be doing any kneeling. We will be standing for the parts that we would normally be kneeling for. And this is to keep the kneelers from having to be cleaned between services. We want to make sure that we limit the work that our cleaning people have to do in as much as possible. So for most of the service, you will be seated, and I will be presiding from the altar area, which puts me a good 20 feet away from people. I may also do my preaching up there as we have room. For communion, persons will be asked to come forward, one pew at a time or one household at a time. All right. And before coming up for communion, you will be asked to sanitize your hands. All right. And you will approach the altar. Excuse the table that's there for the live streaming for now. It will be removed. You will approach the altar where you will stand to receive communion, not kneel, and receive bread in the hand. You may remove your mask in order to receive communion, but then put it back on after you receive the bread. And then can return to your seat. All right? And then the next person can come forward. I know this stretches out the communion length time, but it is important that we keep everybody safe. All right? As we go to the transept, please know the transept pews are longer, and we can allow 2 persons, one on the aisle and one on the window, in these pews if they're not domiciled together. So we can put 2 persons in this pew, individual persons, or we can put one household, in other words, a family or people who are related or domiciled, as they've said, in one house together. All right? But there are only 4 of the transept pews available, so please keep that in mind. All right? During the 10 o'clock service, we will have music in various portions, but we will not have singing. So in order to have an unmasked singer, we need to have 30 feet of distance between the singer and the congregation, and that is not likely to happen in our space. We may work out arrangements for the future, but until then, that is going to be the way that we will be doing worship. When we exit, all right, we're going to ask people to exit from the back pews first, and then the transepts last, so that people will not be necessarily passing each other as much in the aisle. There will be no procession coming in with the cross and no recession, because the aisle is too narrow, and I would be passing within 6 feet of persons. So I will be going in and out through the sacristy, and at the sign of the peace, also there will be no shaking of hands or any getting out of our pews. We will do it by a peace sign or a wave or a bow. And at the door, if I stand outside on the patio, we will also socially distance. Please know that there will be no coffee hours or other social gatherings at this time. I know this is very hard for all of us because we so much love to gather and to have fellowship. But we are going to ask people to return to their vehicles as quickly as possible, and to go on about your day. All right. So I hope this gives you a little bit of insight of what worship will be like. We are allowed to use a lector if they retain their mask use, or that they come up a good distance away from the congregation, which would be close to the altar. So we're going to ask our lectors to remain masked and to do the readings. We have purchased a microphone system that's small but useful, and we will be doing that. If you come to a 10 o'clock service inside, you will note that we probably will have a tripod set up. You can see one over there. It'll be moved to a more viewable location, and we'll keep it out of the traffic pattern as much as possible. But we will be live streaming the service with music as much as possible. So thank you. If you have questions, please give me a call and let me know. We look forward to you joining us again as you feel so led and as you feel so safe. We don't want anybody to come and feel unsafe, but if you come, please know that this is going to be the protocol for the foreseeable future, we hope that, and we trust that everybody will want to honor that so that we can keep one another safe. So thank you for taking this video tour with me, and we look forward to seeing you soon. We hope that you are well, and we hope that you are safe.